All right, buckle up, buttercups, because the internet served up some prime chaos this week, and we need to dissect this shit. First up, Mr. Beast, you know, the guy who practically shits money for YouTube views?
Jimmy Donaldson, the philanthropy as entertainment mogul. Yeah, what has he done now? Staged a fight between 1,000 puppies and a giant robot?
Closed, he or rather his brand, launched this thing called the MrBeast Experience in Vegas. Fans paid $1,000 each for what was hyped as this amazing, exclusive 3-night getaway at some resort. Think games, special merch, maybe even basking in the holy glow of Mr. Beast himself.
$1,000 just to exist in the vicinity of his brand? What did they actually promise for that price? It sounds steep unless you're literally getting a personal tour of his Scrooge McDuck vault.
Exactly, that's what people thought. They rolled up expecting Willy Wonka's factory, but Vegas edition. What they got? Hoo boy, it was less golden ticket, more sad, deflated balloon.
Let me guess. Operational failures, poor execution? It sounds like a branding extension nightmare waiting to happen, if not managed perfectly.
Nightmare is putting it mildly, Nina. First off, the main attraction, Mr. Beast, total ghost, never showed. Now, technically, his appearance wasn't guaranteed. Come on, call it the Mr. Beast experience, and people expect the fucking beast?
Oh, that's genuinely disappointing for them. Imagine saving up, traveling there, filled with anticipation, only for the central figure to be absent. It feels like a breach of implied trust, even if it wasn't explicitly promised.
Trust me, that was just the appetizer of fail. The promised exclusive perks, get this? The mystery bag delivered to their rooms had like a couple of chocolates and leftover kids' t-shirts. Shit you could probably find remaindered at Walmart.
Leftover merchandise for $1,000 ticket? That's not just poor planning. That's insulting. It suggests they view their core audience as easily pleased cash cows who will accept literal scraps. From a business perspective, it's incredibly short-sighted. Brand loyalty is fragile.
It transforms the fan-creator relationship into something purely transactional and, frankly, a bit predatory. Paying for a feeling of connection is one thing, but paying premium prices for clearance bin leftovers? That feels hollow.
Hollow? Isla, it was a black hole of disappointment. No special events, no meet and greets, just overpriced hotel rooms with some stale chocolate. Fans were pissed, comparing it to the Fire Festival, but like the sad low-budget YouTube version.
The Fire Festival comparison is potent. It taps into that narrative of influencer hype massively outpacing reality, leading to public disaster. But who's truly culpable here? Was it Mr. Beast directly making promises, or the hotel and event organizers dropping the ball entirely? His name is on it, so ultimately, Jim and the buck stops with him for brand perception.
It raises that uncomfortable question about parasocial relationships, doesn't it? How much are people willing to pay? Not for a tangible product or service, but for proximity even. Imagine proximity to someone they admire online. Is the desire for connection becoming just another commodity to exploit?
Or maybe people are just fucking idiots for dropping $1,000, hoping to catch a glimpse of some YouTuber. Sorry, not sorry. Like, manage your expectations, people. He makes videos, he doesn't walk on water. Unless it's for a video, then he probably would.
While Kiki's take is characteristically blunt, there's a point there about consumer responsibility. However, the marketing likely implied a certain level of exclusivity and access. You don't charge $1,000 for a standard hotel stay with dollar store party favors. It's either incompetence or intentional misrepresentation. I lean towards a disastrous cocktail of both.
Perhaps it was an attempt at something new that simply failed spectacularly. Ambition outstripped execution. It feels less malicious than Fire, maybe more naive, though the result for the attendees is similarly sour.
Oh, it got sour all right. So sour that a bunch of angry fans actually confronted the hotel management. And guess what? The hotel caved and agreed to give full refunds. Score 1 for the pissed off mob.
Full refunds, that's significant. That suggests the hotel acknowledged a fundamental failure to deliver, likely to avoid a PR firestorm or even legal action. Smart move, cutting their losses.
And Mr. Beast, he tweeted something like, "This definitely isn't the experience we hoped for," which is the understatement of the century. He also offered the unhappy campers a tour of a studio back home as a make-good.
A studio tour? Is that comparable to a $1,000 Vegas trip they were expecting? It feels like offering someone a band-aid after their leg's been chopped off. Well-intentioned perhaps, but potentially missing the scale of the disappointment.
It's classic damage control. Acknowledge fault non-specifically. Offer a non-monetary olive branch that reinforces his core brand and try to pivot the narrative. Whether it works depends on how authentic it feels. For fans who spend significant money and travel time, a tour might feel inadequate. It hurts his generous benefactor image slightly. The guy known for giving money seemingly fumbled while taking it.
Yeah, imagine the scenes. Sorry, your $1 Vegas dream was shit. Here's a look at the warehouse where I film myself setting money on fire. Feel better? I mean, I'd probably take the tour, but I'd still be salty as hell. What a mess. Okay, shifting gears hard now. From influencer fails to something much, much uglier. There's this video going viral out of Pinole, California, and honestly, it's fucking disgusting.
Oh no. Based on your tone, Kiki, this isn't going to be light. What happened?
It's a parking lot confrontation. This white woman in a car just absolutely unloads on a black woman. Just vile racist shit. Repeatedly screaming the N-word hard R. Insults about her appearance, just pure, unadulterated hatred caught on camera, and apparently completely unprovoked.
Good God, another one. It feels relentless. Was the victim okay? Did anyone intervene?
The woman targeted actually stayed remarkably calm, which is fucking incredible given the circumstances, and just recorded the whole thing. The psycho screaming eventually yells, "Get out of my face, you," and drives off. The video ends there, but it's just stomach turning.
The strength it must take to remain composed while someone is dehumanizing you with that kind of language. It's unimaginable. It's a testament to her character, but it's horrifying that anyone should have to endure that. That kind of verbal violence leaves deep scars.
And the fallout? What's happened since the video surfaced?
Predictably, the internet went nuclear. People were furious. Pinole police got involved, classified it as a hate incident, and are investigating. Internet sleuths doing their thing, apparently managed to ID the woman pretty quickly. Turns out she's got a pending theft case. Lovely. And she's been busy scrubbing her social media. Naturally, everyone's calling her the new Central Park Karen.
The swift identification and police involvement show the power of digital evidence. Yeah, but it immediately brings up the debate around internet justice. Exposing blatant racism feels like a public service, right? Dragging darkness into the light.
It does feel like sunlight is the best disinfectant, as they say, holding people accountable for hateful behavior that they might otherwise get away with seems necessary, but the line between accountability and mob justice can get blurry so fast. Doxing threats towards family, people losing jobs unrelated to the incident. Does the punishment always fit the crime when the internet becomes judge, jury, and executioner?
Fuck that. If you're gonna scream the N-word at someone in public in 2025, you deserve whatever shitstorm comes your way. Don't want your life ruined? Don't be a vile racist piece of shit. It's not that hard. If I saw that happen, hell yes, damn it. Blast it everywhere. Let the world see you for who you are. Consequences, baby.
I understand the anger. Kiki, I really do. Your behavior is indefensible. But we also need to consider the potential for misidentification, the intensity of online pile-ons that can spiral wildly out of control, and whether the goal is genuine accountability or just collective digital vengeance. Does ruining someone's entire life, including potentially impacting innocent family members, serve justice or just satisfy outrage? It's a complex ethical minefield.
And why does this keep happening? Is it that society is actually moving backward, becoming more hateful? Or is it simply that cameras are everywhere now, capturing the ugliness that was always simmering beneath the surface? Maybe it's a combination. People feel emboldened, or perhaps they're even performing for perceived validation from fringe groups online. It's deeply unsettling.
Or maybe some people are just fundamentally broken assholes. Like, maybe it's not that deep. Ayla, Yuda, maybe she's just a racist dickhead having a bad day. Or a bad life, judging by that pending theft case.
And regardless of the why, the what is damaging, furious incidents erode social cohesion. The question is whether the current cycle of viral outrage, investigation, and often intense, sometimes disproportionate, online retribution is the most effective way to address it. Does it deter future behavior, or just drive it underground or into more polarized echo chambers?
It also takes an emotional toll on everyone who watches. Witnessing such raw hate even through a screen is draining. You feel angry, helpless, maybe even scared. It chips away at your faith in humanity, bit by bit.
Yeah, it's grim, yeah? Makes MrBeast's shitty merch bag seem pretty fucking trivial in comparison, doesn't it? Just another week in the glorious dumpster fire we call the internet. Alright, buckle up, because the internet just served up another slice of pure, unadulterated unadulterated WTF from Bangalore, India. You guys aren't gonna believe this shit.
Okay, Kiki, you've got my attention. What fresh hell has graced our screens now? Don't tell me it's another Tide Pod Challenge revival?
Oh, so much better. Picture this. Peak Bangalore traffic, horns blaring, chaos everywhere, and right in the fucking middle of the road, there's this dude, not walking, not driving, sitting in a swivel chair, casually sipping chai tea like he's at his goddamn desk.
Wait, he set up furniture in moving traffic, just contemplating existence over a cup of tea while motorcycles weave around him? That's existentially terrifying and bizarrely poetic.
Exactly, poetic chaos. Auto swerving, bikes dodging, everyone losing their minds, and this guy, zero fucks given, just swiveling slightly, taking a sip, absolute Zen master or total lunatic, the jury's out.
Let me guess. Someone filmed it vertically, added some obnoxious music, and it instantly blew up on TikTok. The bar for viral content gets lower every day.
Bingo! Phone cameras whipped out immediately. The clip went supernova online within hours. You know the type, perfect meme material? Captions like mood or my coping mechanism. Classic Gen Z fodder.
Of course, because nothing says relatable like obstructing traffic and risking a multi-vehicle pileup for 15 seconds of questionable fame. The economics of attention are truly warped.
It's like performance art reflecting the absurdity of modern life, almost finding a moment of calm amidst self-inflicted danger and chaos. But at what cost to everyone else sharing that space? It feels deeply selfish masked as rebellion.
Well, the local authorities weren't exactly fans of his performance art. The Bangalore police tracked down our 26-year-old tea-sipping daredevil pretty damn quick.
Arrested, I assume. Public endangerment seems like a safe bet. Hope his tea was worth the potential criminal record.
Oh yeah, cuffs slapped on. But the best part? The cops got sassy on Twitter. They posted the video with a warning. Willa, you gotta read this. It's gold.
Alright, let me see. Okay, the Bangalore City Police tweeted, taking tea time to the traffic line will brew you a hefty fine, not fame, with the little siren emojis.
Okay, points for the pun. Using humor might actually cut through better than a standard warning, especially with the audience pulling these stunts. It acknowledges the absurdity while still laying down the law. Smart social media play.
Does it though? Or does it just amplify his performance, giving him exactly the widespread attention he likely craved? Even if it's framed as a warning, it feels like feeding the very beast they're trying to tame.
See, this is where it gets juicy. Nina Ayla, the big question. Yeah, was this guy an absolute legend, the king of chill, sticking it to the stressful grind? Or just a monumental idiot, putting lives at risk for clicks?
From a purely risk assessment standpoint, idiot, monumental idiot. The potential downside serious injury, death, causing accidents for others massively outweighs any conceivable upside, which seems to be temporary internet notoriety. There's no ROI on that unless you value likes over ligaments.
Oh, come on, Nina. Lighten up. Isn't there something undeniably badass about being that unbothered? In the middle of literal chaos, it's like a middle finger to the universe. He achieved peak main character energy while everyone else was stuck in the NPC traffic jam. That takes guts, or maybe just a profound detachment from reality. Probably both. Fucking icon, honestly.
Icon? Kiki, he could have been killed or worse, caused someone else's death. An auto driver swerving to avoid him could have hit a pedestrian. There's nothing iconic about that level of disregard for the sanctity of life and the safety of the community. It's performative nihilism, not bravery. It makes my stomach turn, thinking about what could have happened.
Mala's right on the danger, but Kiki touches on the why. It's clearly about clout. We see it constantly. People doing increasingly reckless things for online validation. This isn't about tea. It's about manufacturing a viral moment. He engineered absurdity, knowing it would be filmed and shared. It's a calculated gamble for attention in a saturated market.
Okay, fine, it was dumb and dangerous. But are these viral stunts getting completely out of hand? Like, where's the line anymore? We went from ice bucket challenges to this. Are we just escalating towards total anarchy for the sake of a few thousand views?
I fear that line has become blurred, perhaps erased entirely. When the digital echo feels more real or rewarding than tangible consequence, people lose perspective. Imagine if this hadn't ended with a witty tweet, but with sirens and paramedics. Would we still be dissecting it with amusement? Or would it be a tragedy, highlighting a toxic trend? The outcome dictates the narrative, but the recklessness remains the same.
And that brings us back to the police response. Does the witty tweet deter the next idiot? Or does it just make the whole phenomenon seem less serious, yet more like a game. From a branding perspective for the police, it makes them seem relatable, less authoritarian. But does it work as a deterrent? I'm skeptical. It might just encourage copycats, hoping for their own punny police tweet shoutout.
Yeah. Maybe the next guy will bring a whole damn picnic basket. Look, I think a little humor is better than just wagging a finger. At least it gets people talking, right? Maybe the ridicule is a better punishment than a fine for these clout goblins.
It reminds me of those people who climb cranes or hang off buildings for photos, or even the less extreme but still disruptive pranks in public spaces. It's all part of the same desperate plea. Look at me. Validate my existence through your screen. Is this the legacy our digital age is forging? A tapestry woven with threads of absurdity and unnecessary risk?
It's the commodification of recklessness. Attention is the currency, and extreme behavior yields high returns, at least initially, until the market corrects. Usually involves someone getting seriously hurt or facing actual, unglamorous legal consequences.
So it's a sign of the times then? We're just doomed to scroll past increasingly insane stunts until someone literally sets themselves on fire, juggling chainsaws in Times Square?
Perhaps it's a call for introspection. Why do we, as viewers, reward this behavior with our attention? Maybe the change needs to start with us deciding what's truly worth watching, sharing and celebrating choosing substance over shock value.
Or maybe it's just proof that boredom and the internet are a dangerous cocktail. Either way, this guy definitely brewed up more than just tea. He brewed up a conversation, a fine, and probably a lifetime ban from IKEA for misusing their swivel chairs.
Okay, true. Let's just hope his next performance piece involves, like, silent meditation in a park, less chance of becoming a hood ornament. Okay, buckle up, because the internet has served up another absolute 5-star dumpster fire, and this one involves Australia, an influencer, and a very pissed off marsupial. You guys are gonna love this.
Oh god, Kiki, what now? Don't tell me someone tried to ride a kangaroo or something.
Let me guess. Cloud chasing went horribly wrong again. Spill it.
Even better, or worse depending on how you look at it. We've got this American travel influencer, goes by Samantha Strable online. Sam Jones apparently is her real name. She was in Australia, filming content, right, standard stuff, until she decided the cutest thing ever would be to snatch a wild baby wombat off the roadside.
She did what, a wild animal? Seriously?
Wait, she just picked up a baby wombat like it was a stray kitten? Oh, that's horrifying. Describe the video, Kiki. I need to picture this train wreck.
Okay, so the video shows her spotting this little wombat Joey. She literally runs over, grabs it, and the poor thing is obviously terrified, screeching, squirming like hell, and she starts running towards the camera with it, like, look what I found.
Oh, the poor creature, you can just imagine its terror. And the mother, was the mother nearby?
You betcha. The mama wombat comes charging after her, totally distressed, trying to get her baby back, while this idiot influencer is just running away, filming this thinking it's adorable content. She eventually puts it down. But Jesus Christ, the lack of brain cells is astounding.
That's not just stupid. It's potentially illegal and incredibly cruel. Wombats aren't props for your shitty Instagram feed. What was she thinking? Oh wait, she wasn't. Zero thoughts behind those eyes.
It's vile. Using a terrified baby animal for likes, it makes my skin crawl. That poor mother wombat too. Imagine the panic.
Exactly. And that's why this thing exploded. Nina, you want to break down the viral science here?
Simple formula, really. It hit the perfect storm sweet spot. You've got peak entitled, influencer behaving badly. Use everyone loves to hate. Smashed right against adorable wild animal being abused, which triggers primal protective instincts. Add Australia's known passion for wildlife protection, and boom, instant global outrage.
Yeah, the sheer audacity to think snatching wildlife is Q2C content. It's next level narcissism. The thirst for clout is real, people, and it makes you do dumb shit. Like felony level dumb shit, potentially.
It's a profound disrespect for nature, for another living being. Treating it as an object, a means to an end for online validation. It's deeply sad.
Oh, but the Aussies? They weren't sad, they were furious. The backlash was immediate and brutal. Comments flooded, calling her every name under the sun. And then the priest de resistance, Deport Her started trending in Australia. They wanted her gone.
That doesn't surprise me. Australians have zero tolerance for tourists messing with their wildlife. It's part of their national identity. That hashtag is intense, though. Shows the level of public anger.
Wow, demanding deportation. That's serious heat. It must have been terrifying for her, but honestly, play stupid games. Win stupid prizes. You don't go to another country and harass protected wildlife.
And get this, it wasn't just keyboard warriors. The authorities actually got involved because Australia doesn't fuck around with their wildlife laws. Yuka, this wasn't just a social media slap on the wrist. She was facing a visa review. They were seriously considering booting her out.
See, that's the difference. In some places, this might have blown over. Australia, they treat wildlife protection seriously. Putting her visa under review sends a clear message. Your influencer status doesn't make you above the law here. It's refreshing, honestly. Accountability.
It reinforces that actions have consequences, especially when they involve vulnerable creatures and disrespecting another country's values.
But the absolute cherry on top, the mic drop moment, the Australian immigration minister, an actual government official, commented on it after she eventually left the country voluntarily. He said, and I quote, "There's never been a better day to be a baby wombat in Australia. Savage. Absolute king shit."
Okay, that's genuinely hilarious. A politician delivering a burn like that? Priceless. That quote alone probably went viral. Peak Australian dry wit.
That's quite the statement from an official. It sums up the national sentiment perfectly, though. Protect the wombats at all costs.
So this obviously kicked off the whole debate. Was the massive online pile-on justified? Dragging her through the digital mud, the #deport her campaign. Too much or exactly what she deserved? Nina, what's the sensible take?
Well, there are two sides. On one hand, public shaming, especially online, can be disproportionate, vicious, and lack context. Mob mentality isn't justice. Did she know how serious it was? Maybe not initially, though ignorance isn't a great excuse. She did apologize later, apparently. On the other hand, what else holds influencers accountable when they pull stunts like this? Bad press, a dip in followers? Sometimes? A massive public backlash is the only effective deterrent. It signals a boundary. You can't just exploit animals or cultures for clicks without consequences. Maybe the scale was intense, but the core message, "this is unacceptable," needed to be heard loud and clear.
I lean towards the idea that the outrage, while harsh, serves a purpose. In an era where shocking behavior is often rewarded with attention, a strong negative reaction might be the only language some creators understand. It wasn't just about her. It was a collective drawing of a line in the sand about respecting wildlife. Perhaps the intensity reflects how strongly people feel about protecting the voiceless.
Fuck nuance. She snatched a baby animal from its mother for Instagram. Drag her. She absolutely deserved every bit of that backlash. Maybe next time, she'll think twice before treating wildlife like a fucking prop. Serves her right if her career tanks. Play stupid games, win deportation threats. Simple.
Beyond the shaming, the core lesson is about respect, isn't it? Respect for wild animals, their habitats, and the laws of the places you visit, especially in a country like Australia, where the connection to wildlife is so integral to their culture and ecosystem. It's not a theme park.
Exactly. It highlights the responsibility that comes with being a tourist, and even more so, a content creator with a platform. You have an ethical duty to understand and respect local norms, laws, and sensitivities. Filming yourself committing a crime or an act of cruelty isn't content creation. It's just being an asshole with a camera. Learn the rules before you land, especially if your whole brand is about travel. It's basic professionalism. Or just basic human decency.
So, final thoughts. Will influencers finally learn? Will this wombat disaster be the wake-up call that stops them from, I don't know, trying to surf on a sea turtle next? Or is this just another blip until the next idiot tries something even dumber flicks?
I hope it serves as a cautionary tale. I hope it reminds people that behind the screen, there are real lives, real ecosystems, and real consequences. But the allure of viral fame is strong.
Realistically, some might learn, others won't. The influencer economy often rewards boundary pushing. Even negative attention can be monetized. Cases like this, with actual legal and travel consequences, might make a few more pause. At least Australia made it clear. You mess with our wombats, and you might just find yourself on the next flight home, permanently.
Yeah, well, lesson learned or not, not, at least we got a killer quote from a politician, and the wombats are safe for now. Don't fuck with Aussie wildlife, kids. Seriously. Okay, moving on. You guys have to see this next video. It's absolutely mental. Straight out of Chile, apparently. There's this dude just casually kayaking off the coast, minding his own business, probably thinking about fish tacos or whatever, and then bam! A fucking humpback whale surfaces right underneath him. We're talking a literal mountain of blubber appearing from the depths. It looks like the whale just inhaled him, kayak and all.
Oh my god, Kiki, are you serious? A whale? Like, actually in its mouth? That sounds terrifying. Can we see the clip? The sheer scale difference must be mind-blowing.
Hold on. Let's get the facts straight before we declare this guy Jonah 2.0. I saw this floating around. The video looks insane, definitely. But the marine biologists and experts chimed in pretty quickly. They're saying the whale wasn't trying to eat him. It was likely lunge feeding or gulp feeding, basically opening its massive mouth to hoover up a school of fish or krill, and the kayaker just happened to be in the wrong place at the absolute worst time. It apparently spat him right back out almost instantly.
Oh sure, Nina. Accidentally. The whale just needed a little human-flavored palate cleanser before the main course of krill. Maybe it was trying out a new fusion cuisine?
Right. Oops, sorry, mate. Didn't see you there floating in my lunch. The indifference of nature is sometimes more terrifying than malice.
Look, I'm just relaying what the people who actually study these 50-ton animals are saying. But yeah, the visual is pure nightmare fuel. 0 stars. Do not recommend the experience.
It immediately makes you think of those ancient stories, doesn't it? Like Jonah getting swallowed, or the sheer terrifying power of Moby Dick. There's something so primal about the idea of being consumed by a creature from the deep. It taps into a collective human dread.
Totally. It's that deep-seated fear of the unknown ocean. Like, we think we're masters of the planet, then a whale almost swallows some dude's kayak like it's a rogue Cheerio in a swimming pool. Puts things in perspective. Holy shit. My thalassophobia just went through the fucking roof watching this. I'm not even sure I want to take a bath tonight. The drain looks kinda sus.
It's that feeling of utter vulnerability, isn't it? Being a tiny speck in an environment that isn't ours, where creatures infinitely larger and more powerful barely register our existence until they accidentally scoop us up. There's a strange, unsettling poetry to it.
And that's precisely why this blew up online. It checks all the viral boxes. You've got the insane WTF just happened moment caught clearly on camera. High stakes, someone nearly became whale chow. Then there's the relatable human fear factor, mixed with the sheer spectacle of nature's power. It's visually stunning and horrifying all at once. Perfect clickbait, perfect share material. People couldn't look away.
Exactly. It's got that morbid curiosity element, like watching a car crash, but with more blubber. You gasp, you cringe, maybe you laugh nervously, and then you immediately send it to 5 friends. Caption, WTF is, you did this?
And the online comments are gold. Half the people are like, poor guy, hope he's okay. And the other half are making whale puns and arguing about whether he provoked it by wearing a brightly colored kayak. Humans are weird.
Okay, real talk. Is this guy ever going near anything larger than a puddle again? I bet his therapist is going to need a therapist after hearing this story. So, tell me about your week. Well, Doc, I got briefly inhaled by a humpback.
Future dating profile. Enjoys long walks on the beach, non-aquatic hobbies. Survivor.
You have to admit, there's an element of incredible luck, though. To be momentarily inside a whale's mouth and come out relatively unscathed, that's a story for the grandkids. Assuming he ever goes near children or loud noises again, the whale probably didn't even notice him. Like getting a fly in your mouth. Annoying, spit it out, move on.
Yeah, minimal injury apparently meant just bruises and scratches. Sounds like a typical Tuesday for an extreme sports enthusiast, maybe. Or perhaps just proof that whale mouths are surprisingly gentle when they're not actively crushing krill. Good to know.
Imagine the insurance claim. Reason for kayak damage. Briefly resided inside marine mammal. I bet State Farm hasn't got a form for that. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, but not yours it.
It's just another reminder, isn't it? We can build cities, fly to the moon, but the ocean, it's still this vast, wild, unpredictable place. We're just guests there, and sometimes the host accidentally tries to eat us.
Pretty much. Nature doesn't follow our rules or expectations. Sometimes it just does something completely, utterly insane, and we get a viral video out of it.
And a hell of a story for a podcast. Seriously, though. That dude needs a drink, or maybe just a lifetime supply of very dry land. What a fucking ride. All right, next up. You guys are gonna love this train wreck. There's this makeup influencer influencer from India, right? She decided the world needed her tutorial on, wait for it, faking injuries to get out of work? Seriously, she posted this whole step-by-step guide, calling it an IT worker hack, showing how to slap on makeup to look like you've got gnarly bruises and cuts. For sick leave, genius or fucking idiotic? Let's discuss.
Hold on, an IT worker hack? What does that even mean? Are IT workers known for faking injuries now? Or is she implying they're the only ones dumb enough to try this? From a business perspective, this is bafflingly stupid.
People actually watch tutorials for that? Faking harm to avoid responsibility? There's something inherently bleak about that finding an audience.
Oh, it found an audience, all right. The video blew up millions of views, but plot twist, most of them weren't exactly reaching for their makeup kits. They were grabbing their pitchforks.
It sounds like it touched a raw nerve. When something intended as humor sparks such widespread anger, it often reflects deeper societal anxieties. People felt it wasn't just a silly video, it felt wrong.
Shocking. You mean people don't appreciate tutorials on committing fraud against their employers? Who could have possibly predicted that? The level of foresight here is minimal.
Exactly. The comment section was a dumpster fire. People were calling her out, saying it's cheap, unethical, promoting cheating, and basically eroding any shred of trust left between bosses and employees, which, let's be real, wasn't exactly rock solid to begin with.
It is unethical. It undermines the entire basis of sick leave, which is for people who are genuinely unwell. Promoting this kind of deceit, even as a joke, encourages a mindset that gaming the system is acceptable. It normalizes dishonesty.
Perhaps the anger stems from a feeling of betrayal too. We live in a time where authenticity is supposedly valued online, yet here's someone demonstrating calculated deception. It feels like a violation of that unspoken contract, even if it's just for clicks.
But wait, she did try to cover her ass. The end. She threw in a little, don't let your boss see this. Like, wink wink, nudge nudge. She insists it was all just a big joke. Entertainment.
Yes, the classic it's just a prank bro defense. Legally and ethically, that disclaimer is about as effective as a screen door on a submarine. It doesn't absolve you of the potential impact, especially when you're broadcasting it to millions. She basically taught people how to lie more convincingly.
The intention versus the impact, it's a constant battleground in the digital age. She might have intended humor, but the impact was perceived as a promotion of unethical behavior. The line is so easily blurred when content travels so far, so fast, stripped of its original context.
Okay, but come on, lighten up. Who the hell is actually going to try this? You'd have to be a special kind of moron to think you could fool anyone past HR with some badly blended eyeshadow bruises. Isn't the sheer absurdity of it kind of funny?
No, Kiki. It's not funny because people are that stupid or desperate. You underestimate the lengths some people will go to avoid work or responsibility. And this isn't just harmless fun. It actively provides a template for bad behavior. It puts ideas into heads that shouldn't be there. And what happens when someone does try it and gets caught? They're fired. Maybe face legal action, depending on the company policy. Is that influencer going to pay their legal fees? Doubtful.
It makes you wonder about the underlying reasons someone might even search for such a hack. Is it purely laziness? Or does it speak to a deeper dissatisfaction with work culture, burnout, feeling undervalued, the immense pressure, maybe the desire to escape even through deceit? Stems from a place of genuine unhappiness that doesn't excuse it, but it adds a layer of melancholy.
Okay, maybe some people hate their jobs enough to consider painting on a black eye. We've all been there. Scrolling job sites on company time. But this is next level. It's performance art, really. Bad performance art.
From a branding perspective, it's a disaster. Unless her brand is teach people how to be unemployable, this kind of controversy is toxic. Advertisers run from this stuff. Future collaborations dry up. She traded a fleeting viral moment for long-term reputational damage. Short-sighted.
And the nature of viral content means this video, this single joke, could define her online persona for years. Context collapses online, nuance disappears. She might forever be the fake injury girl, regardless of her intentions or future work. And that's a heavy price for a prank.
Yeah, poor thing. Maybe she can do a follow-up tutorial. How to fake sincere apology makeup.
The reaction says a lot about current work ethics, or perhaps the anxiety around them. In an era of remote work, quiet quitting, and constant debates about productivity, trust is paramount. A video like this feels like throwing a grenade into that already fragile dynamic. Employers get more suspicious. Policies get stricter. Everyone loses.
It highlights that tension between the desire for freedom or escape and the structures of modern work. These hacks, whether for productivity or in this case, avoidance, are like little ruptures in the system. They fascinate and repel us because they represent a rejection of the rules we live by.
Okay, picture this though. Someone actually tries it. They spend like an hour contouring a fake broken nose, walk into the office looking like a Picasso painting gone wrong. And their boss is just like, Dave, is that glitter glue? And why does your bruise smell like berries? The sheer potential for comedic failure is immense.
The potential for getting fired and potentially sued for fraud is more likely. Kiki, attempting to deceive an employer for paid time off isn't a joke. It can constitute grounds for immediate termination and, depending on the scale and company, even legal repercussions for defrauding the company of wages. It's monumentally stupid.
All right. Point taken, boss. So, final thoughts? Was she a comedic genius pushing boundaries, or just an idiot with an eyeshadow palette and zero common sense?
I think it's a reflection of our chaotic online world where humor can curdle into harm and a single click can ignite a firestorm. It's less about her genius or idiocy and more about the ecosystem that allows such things to flourish and then condemns them with equal ferocity, a digital Ouroboros eating its own tail.
Final word? Unethical, unprofessional, and unbelievably dumb. It normalizes deception and damages trust. If you need a day off, be an adult and ask for it, or call in sick if you're genuinely ill. Don't resort to pathetic theatrics you saw on Instagram. Grow up.
All right, buckle up, because the internet has cooked up another relationship model that sounds absolutely batshit crazy. But everyone's talking about it. It's called the don't ask, don't tell open relationship, or DAT. If you're nasty, basically, you and your partner agree, you can both go out and get some strange, but the golden rule is you absolutely, positively do not talk about it, ever. Keep those extracurriculars zipped up tighter than Nina's vintage Chanel bag.
Wait, what? An open relationship where the core principle is secrecy? That sounds like a contradiction wrapped in an enigma, sprinkled with future therapy bills.
Let me clarify the mechanics, Ala. Kiki's mostly right, if a bit crude. In a DAT setup, the agreement is the secrecy. Both partners consent to non-monogamy, but explicitly agree not to share any details who, what, where. The idea supposedly is to avoid jealousy, awkward conversations, and emotional fallout. You get the freedom, allegedly, without the messy feelings.
But isn't that just institutionalized cheating? Giving yourselves permission to betray trust, but calling it an arrangement so you can sleep at night? It feels hollow, like building a house on quicksand.
See? Hollow. That's why it's blowing up. TikTok and Reddit are having a field day with this. Gen Z is basically treating it like some edgy life hack.
I can see why it would capture attention online. It taps into that desire for freedom, but also the fear of confrontation. It's inherently paradoxical, which always sparks debate.
Oh, it's prime viral content. The memes alone are gold. Think about it. My relationship is open, but like only when I'm not looking, or heard you got a dat thing going, so you single? It perfectly captures that modern blend of oversharing online while desperately avoiding real intimacy offline. Digi-clickable and requires zero emotional intelligence to joke about. Yeah, and that's the viral trifecta.
Exactly. And it throws a grenade right into the usual relationship advice crap. Everyone screams, communication is key, and Dat strolls in like, nah, fuck communication, ignorance is bliss, baby.
Ignorance might feel like bliss temporarily, but doesn't that just fester? Secrets have a way of poisoning things from the inside out. How can you build genuine intimacy if you're actively hiding parts of your life from each other?
That's the core of the debate, Ela. Supporters argue it is pragmatic. If both partners genuinely don't want to know, and knowing would only cause pain or conflict, why force it? It minimizes jealousy, simplifies things. Think of it like outsourcing emotional labor. You agree up front to handle your own shit, including any feelings about your partner's other activities. Efficient in a cold, calculating way.
Efficient? Nina? That sounds like you're optimizing a supply chain, not a relationship. Let's streamline our infidelity process for maximum output. What the fuck?
It feels like treating a relationship like a business contract where certain clauses are conveniently redacted. Where's the soul in that? that? Where's the connection?
Perhaps soul and connection are luxuries. Some people are willing to trade for convenience and avoiding drama. Not everyone wants to dive into the deep, murky waters of feelings. While some prefer the shallow end.
Yeah, the shallow end where you might bump into your partner's other partner and have to pretend you don't know who the hell they are. Awkward?
And that's where the critics chime in. Right? They argue that isn't just avoidant, it's actively harmful. It breeds distrust, kills intimacy, and papers over fundamental incompatibilities. It's a massive red flag masquerading as modern enlightenment.
Totally. It's cowardly. If you want an open relationship, fucking own it, have the balls to talk about it, set boundaries, deal with the messy feelings. This dat thing is like wanting to swim without getting wet. It's bullshit.
The counter-argument, Kiki, is that not everyone has the same capacity or desire for that level of radical honesty. For some couples, maybe this is the only way they can conceive of non-monogamy without imploding. It's a compromise, however flawed.
A compromise built on silence, though, it feels like accepting crumbs when you deserve a whole loaf. You're essentially agreeing to a relationship where parts of your partner are permanently off limits to you.
Yeah, it's like, I love all of you, except for that part that's sleeping with Dave. From accounting, we don't talk about Dave.
And who's really jumping on this trend? Primarily the 1830 crowd online. They're experimenting, pushing boundaries, questioning everything their parents told them about relationships. It's part rebellion, part genuine confusion about how to navigate modern love. They joke about it, share horror stories, ask for advice on Reddit threads titled, "My dat partner slipped up, now what?" It's chaotic, but it reflects a generation grappling with more options and fewer rules than ever before.
Older generations, or at least those who comment, often seem more skeptical. They tend to fall back on the importance of trust, transparency, the hard work of communication, maybe because they've seen where shortcuts like this can lead.
Or maybe they're just jealous. They didn't think of getting away with consequence-free banging back in their day.
Perhaps that is less about the relationship model itself and more a symptom of something larger, a reflection of our time's commitment, phobia, the desire for instant gratification, the difficulty of deep connection in a hyper-individualized world. Maybe people are turning to arrangements like this because genuine vulnerability feels too risky, too terrifying, so they opt for something that mimics freedom but lacks the substance of true openness.
Deep, Ayla. Or maybe it's just because explaining your hookups to your partner is fucking awkward and boring, and people are lazy. Honestly, sometimes I don't even want to tell myself what I did last night.
From a purely practical standpoint, the longevity of day seems questionable. Relationships built on avoiding difficult truths rarely stand the test of time. Eventually something gives, someone develops feelings, someone gets careless, the unspoken rules get broken. It requires an almost psychopathic level of compartmentalization from both partners to work long term. And let's be honest, most people aren't that disciplined, especially when emotions and sex are involved. It's inherently unstable.
Exactly. It feels like choosing willful blindness. You might avoid immediate pain, but you sacrifice the potential for deeper trust and understanding. You're essentially agreeing to never fully know the person you're with. And that's a high price to pay for avoiding uncomfortable conversations.
So, final verdict? Is that the relationship equivalent of quiet quitting? You're still there, but you've checked out of the hard parts? Or is it some next level enlightened path for people who just don't give a shit?
My take? It's a high risk, low reward strategy predominantly for the emotionally immature or the terminally avoidant. It might offer short-term convenience, but it's built on a foundation of sand. Sustainable? Highly unlikely. Smart? Absolutely not.
I think it highlights a yearning for freedom and autonomy, but ultimately mistakes secrecy for privacy and avoidance for peace. True connection thrives in the light, even when that light reveals uncomfortable truths. Dat chooses shadows, and relationships tend to wither there.
Me? I think it's fucking hilarious. People will do anything to get laid without dealing with the consequences. It's peak human bullshit, and honestly, kind of genius in its own cowardly way. Just don't come crying to me when it all blows up in your face, because, spoiler alert, it absolutely will. Okay, brace yourselves, because regular politics look like Serbia's National Assembly, more like Serbia's national anarchy.
Serbia? What now? Don't tell me it's another boring procedural debate.
Boring? Nina honey. They unleash smoke bombs and pepper spray inside Parliament, like full-on riot gear action flick style.
Wait, smoke bombs inside the actual government building? Are you serious, Kiki? That sounds terrifying.
Terrifyingly brilliant. Imagine C-SPAN but directed by Michael Bay. Opposition MP just went berserk.
Okay, describe this. You said smoke bombs. What did it actually look like? Give me the details. Pink and black smoke billowing through the chamber? Pepper spray? Live on TV? Jesus Christ. That's not protest, that's pandemonium. Politicians literally throwing down.
Pink smoke? That feels almost theatrical. But pepper spray? People could get seriously hurt. Why would they do that? What was the trigger? It must be connected to those massive student protests we heard about, right? Against President Vučić. This sounds like an extreme escalation.
Exactly. These MP decided to show solidarity by turning Parliament into a war zone. Forget debating bills, they brought out the tactical gear. Can you picture some old dude in a suit fumbling with a smoke grenade? Hilarious and horrifying.
Tactical gear? Elected officials LARPing as revolutionaries inside their own workplace. How profoundly stupid. Did anyone actually get hurt in this performative tantrum?
Oh, it wasn't just performative. Get this. 3 lawmakers were injured, and one poor bastard actually had a stroke during the chaos. A stroke.
A stroke? My God, Kiki? That's not funny. That's horrific. Someone nearly died because of this.
A stroke, see? This is what happens when idiots prioritize spectacle over sense. It stops being protest and becomes dangerous. Reckless theater with real casualties, fucking morons.
Okay. The stroke is definitely not the funny part, but come on. The internet is losing its mind. Everyone's asking, was this Parliament or the fucking Octagon? Serbia, bringing the MMA energy to legislation.
Yes, how inspiring. Let's replace debate with chokeholds. Maybe the next budget negotiation can be settled with folding chairs. Utterly pathetic display. What's the underlying issue here? Why this level of desperation? It ties back to what Ayla mentioned. President Vučić. There's widespread frustration, accusations of him becoming increasingly authoritarian, ignoring public demands, cracking down on dissent. These protests have been brewing for months because people feel completely shut out. This chaos is probably a symptom of that deeper rot.
It's like the smoke itself is a symbol. They're physically clouding the room, making it impossible to see or breathe, maybe mirroring how they feel their own voices are being obscured, choked out by the government. It's a desperate, visceral metaphor.
Deep, Ayla, and maybe effective? Apparently. The public support for the protesters is huge. People are reportedly buying gas masks. Can you imagine? Going shopping for bread, milk, and a gas mask because your parliament is a tear gas party waiting to happen.
Gas masks? So the public is gearing up for more chemical warfare from their own representatives? What kind of failed state situation is this?
It makes you think about other protests globally, like the yellow vests in France blocking roads, or even the Capitol riot in the US. Different methods, but maybe stemming from a similar feeling of desperation. Those smoke bombs inside Parliament feels uniquely theatrical, almost performative, like Nina said, but with dire consequences.
Yeah, the Capitol rioters look like idiots in Viking helmets. These guys brought props. Level up.
Kiki, stop glorifying this. It's not a game. There's a line between protest and utter chaos that undermines the very institutions you need for change. Setting off smoke bombs and injuring colleagues isn't fighting for democracy. It's degrading it. It makes serious opposition look like unhinged clowns.
Nina's right. Where does this lead? Does it actually pressure the government effectively? Or does it just give them an excuse to crack down harder? Using violence, even symbolic violence like this, feels like playing with fire, especially when someone literally had a stroke.
But what if that's the only language they think the government understands anymore? Maybe polite debate wasn't working. I mean, it got our attention, didn't it?
Oh, it got attention? All right. Attention as a dysfunctional circus. This doesn't build credibility. It destroys it long term. This kind of stunt rarely achieves sustainable political goals. It just creates martyrs and escalates conflict.
So what's the end game? Serbia descends into full Fight Club politics? Or does this actually force some kind of breakthrough? Honestly, part of me is morbidly curious to see what they try next. Maybe flaming arrows? A trebuchet?
I just hope it doesn't lead to more violence or more people getting hurt. It feels like standing on the edge of something really unstable. That image of smoke filling a parliament, it's chilling, really.
It's a mess, a dangerous, embarrassing mess that highlights deep political fissures. Whether it sparks change or just more chaos remains to be seen. But it's definitely a low point for parliamentary conduct.
Well, folks, forget C-SPAN. Keep Keep an eye on Serbian state TV. Might be the best damn action channel you're not watching. Joe, all right, moving on from whatever the hell that was. You guys got to hear this next thing. Tech Twitter just imploded. Basically, so Jack Dorsey, Mr. Twitter founder turned Bitcoin prophet, he just casually tweeted, delete all IP law. Like 4 words, boom.
Wait, all of it? Like copyright, patents, everything? Just gone?
Delete all IP law? Is he serious? That sounds less like a policy proposal and more like something you'd tweet after 3 edibles.
Exactly. And it gets better. Guess who pops up in the replies like a Bond villain revealing his plan? Elon Musk just replies, I agree, fucking wild, right? 2 of the biggest tech overlords. Basically saying, yeah, let's just burn down the system that protects, well, everything creative.
Okay, hold on. For context, intellectual property law in theory is meant to protect creators, copyright for art, music, writing, patents for inventions, and supposed to give the creator a temporary monopoly, a chance to benefit from their work before it enters the public domain. It's rooted in the idea of rewarding ingenuity and artistic effort.
In theory being the operative phrase, Isla. In practice, IP law is a multi-trillion-dollar battlefield. It's how corporations build empires, protect their market share, and yes, occasionally pay creators pennies on the dollar. It dictates everything from movie franchises to drug patents, to the design of your fucking smartphone. Deleting it isn't just radical, it's economic anarchy, fun to watch, maybe but utterly insane.
Well, Jack's argument apparently is that the current system mostly just makes lawyers and giant corporations the gatekeepers. He calls them rich. He thinks creators would actually get paid better under some new YERRR model.
Oh, I'm sure they would, Chicky. I'm sure creators currently struggling to get royalties from Spotify or YouTube are thrilled at the prospect of Jack and Elon devising a new model where their work is just free for the taking, please. The only gatekeepers this potentially dismantles are the ones that offer some protection, however flawed. What replaces it? The platforms themselves becoming the sole arbiters of value? Here, thanks.
And the reaction from artists, it's exactly what you'd expect. People are furious. I saw comments calling it a declaration of war on creators. They feel like these tech billionaires, whose entire empires are built on code, often protected by IP, are now saying, okay, we got ours. Now let's tear down the ladder so nobody else can climb up. It feels deeply hypocritical and predatory.
From a PR perspective, it's a disaster for Dorsey and Musk. Though they probably don't care, it feeds the narrative that big tech sees creators not as partners, as resources to be mined, like digital plankton for their algorithmic whales. It reinforces the tech bro arrogance stereotype perfectly. Damage control would be pointless. They clearly intended to provoke. And this isn't happening in a vacuum. Look at the AI situation right now. Companies, including ones Musk is involved with or competing against, are getting sued left and right for scraping the entire internet, art, articles, photos, to train their AI models without permission or payment.
Oh yeah, like that Stable Diffusion lawsuit. Artists finding their exact styles copied? That's fucked up.
Exactly. So when Dorsey and Musk say, delete IP law right now, it sounds suspiciously like they want legal cover to keep doing that, or even escalate it. They want the data, the content, not the digital soul of human creativity without the inconvenient need to license it or pay for it.
It's heartbreaking, honestly. Imagine pouring your soul into a piece of art, something deeply personal, only to find it ingested by an algorithm and spat back out as a million generic variations, with no credit, no compensation, no connection to the original human spark. Deleting IP law feels like validating that process on a massive scale. It commodifies the soul.
Okay, but devil's advocate here, what if they're kinda right? In a chaotic, burn it all down way? Imagine a world with no copyright bullshit. Think of the memes, the remixes, the fanfiction. An explosion of creativity where everyone can build on everyone else's stuff without getting cease and desist letters from Disney's army of lawyers. Wouldn't that be kinda cool? Like the Wild West of content?
There's a certain romanticism to that, Kiki. Unfettered expression, a global digital commons. It resonates with the early ideals of the internet. But the Wild West was also violent, exploitative, and ruled by those with the most power and fewest scruples, who protects the vulnerable in that scenario.
Who protects them? Nobody. That's the point. Let's get real. How does anyone make a living creating anything if the second they release it, anyone from a kid in their basement to Meta or Google can copy it? Do you modify it, sell it, and owe the creator absolutely nothing? Forget penny pennies on the dollar, we're talking zero, nada, zip. Are we expecting artists to live on exposure and good vibes? Because my landlord doesn't accept good vibes for rent. This isn't unleashing creativity. It's unleashing exploitation. It benefits exactly two groups: tech giants who want infinite free content, and consumers who don't want to pay for anything. Creators get screwed, end of story.
It feels terrifyingly precarious in the image of an artist, a musician, a writer spending years honing their craft, pouring their life into their work, only to have it instantly replicated and monetized by massive corporations with zero recourse. It's dystopian. How could you possibly sustain a creative life in that environment? It incentives quantity over quality, virality over depth.
Okay. Point taken. Rent is important, but let's play this out. Hypothetical time. Your TikTok dance goes mega viral, like billions of views. Suddenly, Coca-Cola uses the exact dance in a Super Bowl ad. No credit, no cash. In Jack and Elon's utopia, is that cool? Or do you sue? Oh wait, you can't.
In that scenario, under abolished IP, Coca-Cola owes you nothing. Your creativity becomes free, raw material for their marketing engine. Now extrapolate that to every song, every image, every piece of code, every invention. Corporations with distribution power win. Individual creators lose. It's the inevitable outcome. Forget suing. You wouldn't even have a basis to complain.
Think about cinema. Would the Marvel universe even exist without IP? Or would we have 1,000 competing, slightly off Iron Man variants flooding YouTube? None of them with the budget or coherence of the original. Maybe that's the creativity they envision, an endless sea of derivative sludge. Does culture thrive, or does it just dilute into noise?
Or maybe we get some sick, R-rated, fan-made Wolverine film that Marvel's lawyers couldn't shut down. See upsides.
Yes, Kiki. Amidst the ashes of the entire creative economy, we might get a decent fan film. A fair trade, clearly. And let's circle back to AI. Is IP law really holding back AI progress, as they imply? Or is that just a convenient excuse for companies that got caught with their hand in the digital cookie jar?
Right? Like, are their precious AI babies gonna starve if they can't eat copyrighted images for breakfast? Sounds like bullshit whining to me. Pay the damn artists if you want to use their work. It's not rocket science, even for rocket scientists like Elon.
The argument that IP stifles innovation is ancient, but applying it now in the context of generative AI training feels particularly self-serving. They built multi-billion-dollar models by allegedly infringing copyright on a massive scale, and now they want the laws changed retroactively to legitimize it. It's a power play disguised as a philosophical debate.
So yeah, it really is a culture war, isn't it? The Silicon Valley disruption mindset versus everyone who actually makes stuff. Tech lords in their hyperloops versus artists trying to afford paint. David vs. Goliath, but Goliath has rockets and owns the platform David uses to complain.
It highlights a fundamental disconnect in values. Is the goal innovation and profit at any cost, even if it means devaluing human expression? Or do we believe that art, culture, and individual creativity have inherent worth that deserves protection and nurturing? Abolishing IP feels like a definitive answer from the tech side. Code is king, content is fuel, creators are disposable.
It's about control. Who controls the flow of information, culture, and money in the digital age? Removing IP shifts power dramatically towards platforms and aggregators, away from individual creators and traditional rights holders. Whether that's good depends entirely on where you sit in that ecosystem. For us, probably not great.
It does make you think, though, meta moment, how much of our podcast relies on discussing copyrighted material, movies, music, news articles like this one. We operate under fair use, but if that concept vanishes along with all IP law, what does that mean for commentary, criticism, even this conversation?
Oh shit, are we gonna get sued into oblivion in this hypothetical future? Or are we totally free to play any song, show any movie clip, do whatever the fuck we want, no rules, anarchy? Let's play the entire Beatles catalog right now. Just kidding. Probably. Maybe. Who knows?
The likely reality is less exciting. Without clear rules like fair use, platforms like YouTube or Spotify would likely become more restrictive, terrified of lawsuits from, well, whoever figures out how to sue in a lawless wasteland. Or they just demonetize everything that smells remotely like someone else's work. Freedom through abolition? Unlikely. More likely. It's chaos benefiting the powerful.
So final thoughts? Is Jack Dorsey a visionary visionary, freeing us from corporate shackles, or just a billionaire anarchist tossing a grenade into the creative world while Elon cheers him on?
I think it's a dangerous fantasy born from a place of extreme privilege. It ignores the vulnerability of artists and the complex ecosystem needed to sustain creative work. True freedom for creators requires respect and support, not the demolition of the structures, however flawed, that offer some protection. It feels less visionary, more nihilistic.
It's a solution in search of a problem that primarily benefits those proposing it. Abolishing IP is economically naive and culturally destructive. It's a power grab dressed up as populism. Will it happen? No. But the fact they feel comfortable suggesting, it tells you everything about how little they value creative work that isn't their own code. It's fundamentally unserious. The underlying sentiment is deeply troubling.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards rich dudes want to break stuff because they're bored. It's fun to think about the chaos, but nah, pay people for their shit. Wild concept, I know. Anyway, the internet's doing you keep arguing about this forever, so good luck to everyone involved, I guess. What a mess. All right, buckle up, buttercups, because Kawasaki just dropped something so utterly batshit insane, it makes Elon Musk's latest ventures look like sensible accounting. They've basically built a fucking robot horse, a rideable, four-legged thing. Get ready for Corleo.
Wait, hold on, Kawasaki? The motorcycle people? They made a horse? Like a mechanical one you ride seriously?
It's called Corleola, and yes, it's real. Saw the promo stuff. Looks less like a horse and more like something that escaped from a Michael Bay wet dream.
Exactly. It's totally giving Transformers. Like, imagine cruising down the street and your bike just sprouts legs. This thing is wild.
Okay, let me picture this. From what Kiki's saying, it's a quadrupedal robot, right? 4 legs, presumably a place to sit. And Kawasaki mentioned it runs on hydrogen. That part's interesting, at least. A nod to cleaner energy in this metal creature.
Oh, the promo video is spectacular, pure Hollywood. You see this robo-beast galloping through pristine forests, leaping over rocks like it's auditioning for the Robot Olympics. It's beautiful CGI, emphasis on CGI.
Yeah, that's the kicker, isn't it? They show you this epic cyber stallion conquering nature, and then you find out the actual prototype probably needs 3 guys with laptops just to make it twitch its ankle convincingly.
Precisely. The reality is this Corleo is a concept piece, built specifically for the 2025 Osaka Expo. It's not hitting dealerships. You can't pre-order your apocalyptic robo-steed. Kawasaki admits it has very limited movement capabilities right now. It's basically a very expensive, non-functional statue that can wiggle a bit.
So it's an art installation that vaguely resembles future transport? Why build it then? Just for the expo?
Because it went viral, alala. Duh. The internet absolutely lost its collective shit. Everyone was like, OMG. A real-life transformer? People were making memes about trading in their cars for a robo-horse, asking if it comes with an Autobot membership. It's pure, unadulterated clickbait genius.
The sheer absurdity captured the imagination. The idea of saddling up on a complex walking machine instead of a simple, efficient bike, it taps into that childhood sci-fi fantasy. It's inherently shareable content. Kawasaki played the internet like a goddamn fiddle.
I understand the fascination, the spectacle, but stepping back from the viral haze, is there any actual point to this? Does a 4-legged robot offer any tangible advantage over, say, a dirt bike for off-road travel? It seems incredibly complex for potentially no gain. Why not just make a better bike?
Maybe it can climb stairs? Or fetch your newspaper. Honestly, who gives a shit about practicality when it looks this ridiculously cool and stupid at the same time?
From an engineering and safety perspective, Ayla's point is valid. Think about the mechanics. For independently moving legs, complex joints, balance algorithms. It's a stability nightmare compared to 2 wheels gyroscopically stabilized. Behind software glitch, one uneven patch of ground, and you're tumbling ass over a robotic tea kettle. Imagine the insurance premiums on that thing. Yes, I'd like to insure my hydrogen-powered robot horse. No, it doesn't fly yet. Yes, it occasionally trips over pebbles. Good luck with that.
It feels precarious, like balancing a tray of drinks on a unicycle during an earthquake. There's an elegance to the simplicity of a bicycle or motorcycle that this seems to completely abandon for. What, style novelty?
Okay, but devil's advocate here. Maybe regular bikes are boring. Maybe the future is clunky, 4-legged and prone to tripping. It's called progress, people, or maybe just peak Japanese technological eccentricity. Who knows?
Which brings us to the core debate. Is this genuine innovation paving the way for 2050 off-road mobility, as Kawasaki claims, or is it just a multi-million yen publicity stunt to make Kawasaki look cutting-edge and futuristic? Jimmy money's on the stunt. They generated massive global buzz for the cost of one admittedly complex, but ultimately non-functional prototype, cheaper than a Super Bowl ad, and way more memorable. Branding genius, even if the product itself is vaporware.
So you think it's all smoke and mirrors? Just a big, flashy look what we could do. Maybe someday, if we felt like it?
Not entirely smoke and mirrors. Concept vehicles serve a purpose. They test public reaction, showcase design language, signal future direction. A function of this particular concept feels overwhelmingly like generating hype. You knew a robo-horse would break the internet, and it did. Your mission accomplished.
It does make you think, though. Kawasaki states their goal is to imagine mobility in challenging environments 50 years from now. Perhaps legs do offer theoretical advantages on extremely rough, uneven terrain where wheels struggle. It's a conversation starter, even if the current execution is limited.
Yeah, like imagine this thing scaling a cliff face or wading through a swamp. Okay, maybe not this one, which probably can't handle a curb, but the idea, it's ridiculous, but kind of awesome.
It's the Optimus Prime that went to Burning Man and never quite recovered. All flashy lights and weird limbs. Fundamentally impractical, but you can't look away.
So, it's a blend of sci-fi fantasy, engineering limitations, marketing savvy, and a potentially genuine, if distant, vision for the future. A complex mechanical cocktail.
Basically, it's peak 2025, internet fodder, a meme machine on four legs. I kind of love how dumb it is. Would I ride it? Fuck no. Do I want Kawasaki to keep making weird shit like this? Absolutely.
Agreed. While I wouldn't invest in robo-horse futures just yet, the sheer audacity is commendable from a branding perspective. They got everyone talking. Now if they could just make it transform,
or maybe just walk reliably without falling over, that might be a good start. But yes, the conversation has begun, however absurdly.
All right, let's pivot to something darker. Seriously messed up story coming out of Dubai. That's just exploded online. The headlines are screaming Dubai Porta-Potty Scandal 2.0. And honestly, it feels like some twisted urban legend crawled out of the darkest corners of the internet and became terrifyingly real.
Oh god, not that phrase again. I saw that trending. It sounds inherently vile just from the name. What actually happened? Is it as bad as it sounds?
Dubai and horrific stories involving wealthy men and vulnerable women? Sadly, not a new combination, but this one seems particularly brutal. What's the specific case, Kiki?
Okay, so get this. There's a 20-year-old Ukrainian model and OnlyFans creator, Maria Kovalchuk. Classic story, right? Young woman chasing the whole Instagram famous. Luxury lifestyle dream in Dubai. Yachts, parties, rubbing shoulders with insanely rich dudes.
The allure of that life? It's presented as so glamorous online, but you always hear whispers about the darkness underneath. It draws people in, especially when they're young and seeking validation or just a way out.
Exactly. So she's apparently doing the rounds, hitting these exclusive parties, then she vanishes. Poof, gone for 10 days.
10 days? That's not just getting lost after a wild night. That's intentional. That sounds like abduction.
It gets worse. When she's finally found, she's dumped on the side of a road, bloodied, barely conscious, with a snapped spine and broken limbs. She couldn't even speak. Miraculously, she survived after multiple surgeries, but holy shit.
Snapped spine, broken limbs? Found on a roadside? That's not just a party gone wrong, that's attempted murder. That's medieval levels of brutality. Who does that to someone?
Someone who sees another human being as completely disposable, a toy to be broken and thrown away. This reeks of entitlement and psychopathy, fueled by immense wealth and zero consequences.
And this is where the whole porta-potty thing comes roaring back. The family? The rumors online, everyone's saying she was likely taken to one of these alleged secret sex parties hosted by rich Dubai sheikhs.
Wait, explain the porta-potty legend. I've heard the term, but what does it actually entail? I'm almost afraid to ask.
It's fucking grim, the rumor. The urban legend that's been floating around TikTok and forums for years is that these ultra-wealthy guys fly out Instagram models and influencers, and they pay them huge amounts of money for degrading, extreme sexual acts. including, and yeah, this is where the name comes from, stuff involving human waste, like literally being shat on. That's the notorious Dubai Porta-Potty rumor.
It's the commodification of humanity taken to its most grotesque extreme. Paying someone enough money that you think you own their body and dignity outright, to use and defile however you please. It's stomach churning. And it's circulated as this almost mythical warning: don't chase the Dubai money too hard, or you might end up in that situation.
That makes Maria's story even more horrific. The idea that this wasn't just a random violent attack, but potentially part of some known vile practice. It's just sickening. Her family thinks she was held as a sex slave, raped repeatedly, and then discarded like trash.
And that's why this blew up online, right? It hit this perfect storm. You've got the glamorous Dubai influencer fantasy, the true crime horror, and the sudden, real-life confirmation of this gross urban legend people were already whispering about. Twitter, Reddit, TikTok went absolutely insane. It was pure I fucking knew it energy mixed with horror.
Exactly. It's morbid curiosity packaged perfectly for the internet age. It combines sex, extreme wealth, exploitation, mystery, and unbelievable cruelty. It reads like a fucked up movie plot. Taken meets Hostile, meets 50 Shades of Gross. Set against the backdrop of Dubai's skyscrapers, people are drawn to the darkness, especially when it's hidden behind such a shiny facade.
And the reactions, I bet they were all over the place. Outrage, disgust, but also, knowing the internet, probably some vile victim blaming too.
Oh, absolutely. Loads of outrage, thankfully. People calling out the perpetrators. Yo, the whole system that allows this shit to happen. Your women sharing their own fears about predatory rich men. But yeah, the victim blamers crawled out of the woodwork too. You know the type? Well, what did she expect going to those parties? She knew the risks chasing that money, as if anyone signs up to be tortured, have their spine snap, and be left for dead. Fuck those people. Seriously.
That narrative is fucking poisonous. It completely absolves the perpetrators of responsibility. It doesn't matter what party she went to, what job she had, or what choices she made leading up to it. Nobody consents to being brutalized and nearly murdered, trying to justify or minimize what happened to her because she's an OnlyFans model or sought out wealthy men is disgusting misogyny. Plain and simple, your focus should be solely on the monsters who did this to her.
And it shifts the focus from what this actually might be. Police are reportedly investigating it as human trafficking.
Jinzo, which is critical. This isn't just a scandal or salacious gossip about rich people's kinks. If she was held against her will, exploited and trafficked, this is organized crime operating under the guise of lavish parties. It's about power, control, and the systematic abuse of vulnerable people, often women from less wealthy countries lured by false promises. Framing it correctly is essential.
It really messes with Dubai's whole image, doesn't it? They spend billions crafting this persona of being a super modern, safe, luxurious playground for the global elite. You win a story like this breaks, and it looks like some medieval fiefdom where the rich can torture people with impunity.
It highlights the inherent contradiction. Dubai projects this image of hyper-modernity and progress, yet stories like this reveal archaic power dynamics and a potential disregard for basic human rights hidden beneath the surface. It forces people to question the glossy tourism ads and confronts them with the possibility that extreme wealth can mask extreme depravity. It certainly doesn't help their brand image when Dubai Porta-Potty is trending globally.
It feels like such a tragic cautionary tale for the whole influencer generation too. The pressure to project this perfect, wealthy life online. It can make people vulnerable. They see the yachts, the private jets, the designer clothes, and they think that's the goal, but they don't always see the predators waiting in the wings, ready to exploit that desire.
Totally. It's the dark side of the get flown out by a rich guy's fantasy. Sometimes the fairy tale is actually a horror story waiting to happen. YERRR woman Maria is living proof of the absolute worst case scenario.
It leaves you with such a grim feeling. The morbid curiosity makes sense, it's shocking, it's extreme. But beneath that, there's this deep discomfort about the world we live in, where such cruelty exists, and where the pursuit of fame and money can lead someone into such danger. The human cost is just staggering.
Ultimately, it's a brutal reminder to look past the curated perfection online. Yamabil doesn't equal morality, and glamour can be a very effective camouflage for exploitation. Hopefully, besides the morbid fascination, this story also sparks genuine conversations about consent, human trafficking, and the need to hold powerful powerful people accountable, no matter how rich or influential they are, because what happened to Maria Kowalczyk shouldn't happen to anyone. You?
All right, strap yourselves in because the internet has found a brand new way to be both incredibly cool and terrifyingly creepy all at once. Have you guys seen this new chat GPT thing?
The vision model update? Yeah, I saw some buzz about it. What's the latest drama?
Drama is putting it mildly. People are using its new image recognition AI codenamed A3. Sounds ominous, right? To play real-life GeoGuessr. They're uploading random photos they find online, like street corners, shop fronts, random landscapes.
Wait, like the game where you guess locations on Google Maps, but with random people's photos?
Exactly. They feed it a picture and ask, yo, where is this? And the AI is spitting out locations with freakish accuracy. It's gone totally viral on X.
Okay, that is impressive. This O3 model must be analyzing everything architectural details, street signs, vegetation, maybe even the type of font on a menu someone accidentally left in the shop. I saw one example where it nailed a specific obscure village in rural Japan just from the style of the roof tiles and a barely visible utility pole. The level of detail recognition is insane. It's a massive leap.
Right? My first thought was, this is fucking brilliant. Imagine the possibilities. You could use it to find that amazing little bakery you saw in someone's travel pics, but forgot the name of. Or, upload a blurry photo from a party last night and ask ChatGPT, based on the cheap Daker and Desperation, which dive bar was I in?
Okay, Keith, but hang on. While you're thinking about finding bakeries, my mind immediately goes somewhere darker. Doesn't this just scream doxing tool?
She's got a point. Privacy experts are already sounding the alarm. If this AI can pinpoint a location from a random photo, what stops someone from using it maliciously?
Maliciously? It's practically designed for it. Think about it. Someone posts a selfie, maybe just enjoying a day out. Innocent, right? But there's a unique building in the background or a specific type of street lamp. Someone feeds that photo to the AI, and suddenly, bam, your location, potentially your neighborhood, maybe even the exact park bench you were sitting on, is exposed. That's not a game. That's a stalker's wet dream.
Shit. Okay, when you put it like that, it goes from funny internet challenge to genuinely fucking creepy real fast. So we have AI that can write essays, make art, and now play private investigator on anyone with an Instagram account? Great!
Let's not get ahead of ourselves entirely. OpenAI claims they've built in safeguards. The AI is supposedly programmed to refuse requests that involve identifying private residences or recognizing specific people's faces from the photo.
Oh, safeguards? That's adorable, because the internet always respects boundaries and never finds ways around AI restrictions, right? Give me a break. People will be jailbreaking this thing within minutes to get around the filters. Bet someone already has.
That's the realistic counterpoint, yes. No safeguard is foolproof, especially when you have millions of bored, technically savvy people poking at it. The potential for misuse is definitely there, regardless of OpenAI's intentions.
Exactly. Intentions don't matter when the tool itself is so dangerous. Think about activists, journalists, or even just regular people who might be targeted. Someone could track their movements, figure out where they live or work just from casually shared photos over time. Imagine someone in an abusive relationship trying to stay hidden. They post one picture feeling safe, maybe from a New City cafe, and this tech gives their abuser the clue they need. It's terrifying. It makes my blood run cold.
But isn't some of this information already technically public? If you geotag a photo or mention the location.
Yeah, but that's opting in, Nina. This is different. This is AI playing detective on photos that people might think are totally anonymous. It's like Minority Report, but instead of predicting crime, it's telling creeps where to find their next victim. Hyperbolic? Maybe, but maybe not.
It feels like another step towards that Black Mirror reality we all joke about, but secretly fear. Constant surveillance, not just by cameras on streets, but by AI analyzing the digital breadcrumbs we leave everywhere. Where does it end? It changes how you feel about sharing anything online. Does every photo now need to be scrubbed of any potentially identifying background detail? That sounds exhausting and kind of dystopian.
It raises fundamental questions about privacy in the digital age. We trade so much information for convenience or connection, and we rarely understand the full capabilities of the technologies analyzing that data. Yuri's AI location guessing is a stark example.
Okay, bringing the mood down, Ayla. Let's lighten it up for a sec. What's the most ridiculous way someone could misuse this? Like using it to confirm if your boyfriend really was working late by analyzing the reflection in his glasses on his team's call?
Or feeding it pictures of politicians' shoes to figure out which lobbyist's expensive office they were just visiting? The corporate espionage angle is probably already being explored.
See, even the funny examples are kind of gross and invasive. It just highlights how easily this crosses ethical lines. It's inherently voyeuristic.
Okay, fine. Maybe not funny, but absurd. Imagine someone trying to use it to find Bigfoot based on blurry photos. ChatGPT enhanced Sector 7G. Is that Sasquatch near a Starbucks in Oregon?
That, I admit, would be a slightly less harmful application. Still weird though.
So we land back at the core question. Is this AI GeoGuessr trend awesome technological innovation or a dystopian privacy nightmare waiting to unfold?
Honestly, it's undeniably cool tech. Watching AI figure out a location from a tiny clue is mind-blowing, but the potential for it to be weaponized by assholes is just huge.
For me, the potential harm vastly outweighs the novelty. It's a Pandora's box scenario. Once this capability is out there and refined, you can't just put it back. We're normalizing a level of passive surveillance that should make everyone deeply uncomfortable.
It's the classic tech dilemma. Innovation races ahead, and ethics scramble to catch up this time. The stakes feel incredibly personal, literally mapping out people's lives from stray pixels. You need a serious conversation about regulation and responsible use. But like Kiki said, the internet rarely waits for permission.
All right, buckle up, because the internet is absolutely losing its shit over this next one. We're talking massive sports scandal drama. You guys heard about Dani Alves, the football god? Well, guess what? His rape conviction just got tossed out by an appeals court in Spain. Poofing.
Wait, seriously? The Dani Alves? He was convicted, wasn't he? Sentenced? How does that just get overturned?
It's a major legal reversal, Ola. The Catalan appeals court unanimously decided the original conviction from earlier this year was, and I quote, unsafe. He was sentenced to 4.5 years back in February for allegedly raping a woman in a Barcelona nightclub bathroom back in late 2022. Big fall from grace.
Yeah? From hero to zero, and now back to hero? Or maybe just back to rich guy who got away with it? The internet can't decide.
The beau reason for the reversal hinges on the evidence presented during the initial trial. The appeals judges pointed to a series of gaps, inaccuracies, inconsistencies, and contradictions in the accuser's testimony and the overall case. Essentially, they determined the evidence didn't meet the standard required for a criminal conviction, guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. So, legally speaking, they found flaws in the prosecution's case.
Gaps and inconsistencies? That sounds so clinical for something potentially so devastating. It highlights how incredibly difficult these cases must be, relying so heavily on testimony that can be perceived differently by different eyes. One person's trauma could be another's inconsistency.
Yeah. Inconsistent, like maybe she didn't remember the exact fucking tile pattern on the bathroom floor while allegedly being raped. Give me a break. Or maybe she was inconsistent. Who the hell knows? That's the problem.
Regardless of the why, the outcome is clear for now. Alves had been out on bail, but now he's fully released. Conviction wiped, free to travel. He walked.
Just like that. One court says rapist, throws him in jail. Another court says, nah, maybe not, and he's back ordering champagne. Fucking wild. But hold up, Nina. Didn't the brief say something about this not being totally over? Like, the prosecutors can appeal this decision?
Correct. This isn't necessarily the final chapter. The prosecution can, and likely will, appeal this acquittal to Spain's Supreme Court. So, his freedom might be temporary, legally speaking, but for now, the conviction is gone.
It feels like such a whirlwind. The emotional whiplash for everyone involved, especially the accuser. Imagine going through the trial, getting a conviction, and then seeing it undone.
Oh, the internet went nuclear, obviously. You've got a global superstar. One of the most decorated footballers ever. His name alone guarantees clicks and chaos.
It's more than just his fame, Kiki. Overturning a high-profile rape conviction is incredibly rare and inherently controversial. It automatically ignites fierce debate about the justice system, victims' rights, the burden of proof. It's designed for viral outrage.
It truly has that perfect storm formula for online explosion, celebrity a serious crime, and then this completely unexpected plot twist. The hashtags probably started trending before the ink was dry on the court documents. Dani Alves' innocent versus justice for victims. It's instant digital warfare.
Absolutely. Twitter basically turned into Judge Judy's courtroom, but with way more dickheads. Everyone suddenly became a legal expert overnight.
And the reactions were so starkly divided. You saw Alves' supporters, especially loads in Brazil apparently, throwing parties online. They see it as total vindication. Our hero was framed. Now he's free. His wife was posting hopeful messages. It's one reality.
And then the other reality. Women's rights groups, survivors, and a huge chunk of the public are absolutely furious. They see this as a massive slap in the face. The concern is palpable. Does this send a message that if you're rich and famous enough, accountability is optional? Will victims even bother reporting if they see cases like this collapse? It's a chilling prospect.
That chilling effect is so real. The courage it takes to come forward in the first place, and then to potentially see the system favored out over your trauma because of inconsistencies, it's heartbreaking.
And that fuels the central debate. Did the appeals court uphold a fundamental legal principle, innocent until proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt by scrutinizing shaky evidence? Or did they fail the victim by getting lost in legal technicalities, potentially influenced by the defendant's status?
Let's cut the crap. The elephant in the room. How much did his millions and his army of expensive lawyers influence this? You think Joe Schmo accused of the same thing gets his conviction overturned because of gaps? Fuck no, he rots.
While it's impossible to definitively prove bias, the question of privilege is unavoidable in cases like this. Wealth buys access to the best legal teams, extensive investigations, and the ability to sustain long, complex appeals. That's a systemic issue, not just about Alves. But yes, optics matter, and the optics here aren't great for the justice is blind narrative.
You see posts online from survivors saying this exact thing. They talk about how hard it is just to be believed, let alone get a conviction. Seeing this reversal brings up so much pain and reinforces that feeling of a two-tiered justice system. It's difficult to reconcile the legal process with what feels morally right or fair to victims.
And this isn't happening in a vacuum, especially in Spain. Remember the Luis Rubiales kiss scandal last year? Spanish football has been under a microscope regarding sexism and sexual misconduct. There was a feeling maybe that things were starting to change. That accountability was increasing. For many, overturning Alves' conviction feels like a massive step backward, a setback for the #Me Too movement within Spanish sports and potentially society at large. It undermines the progress people felt was being made.
So it's like one step forward with prosecuting these things, and then bam, 2 steps back when the rich guy appeals? Sounds about right for how the world works.
It adds another layer of complexity and disappointment for those who are hoping for a lasting shift in how these allegations are handled.
Again, legally, the fight might not be over. The prosecution taking it to the Supreme Court means this saga could drag on. It keeps the spotlight on the case for better or worse.
Yeah, so Alves isn't exactly chilling on a beach with no cares just yet. But still, getting that conviction squashed is huge. The public reaction though, man, people are breathing fire. Supporters defending him like he's a saint, critics condemning him like he's the devil incarnate. It's peak 2025 polarization.
It truly lays bare how difficult it is to find something resembling truth or justice that satisfies everyone, especially in the glare of global media. These high-profile cases become symbols, carrying the weight of so many other unspoken stories and societal failures. The impact ripples far beyond the courtroom.
Ultimately, this case forces uncomfortable conversations about the intersection of celebrity, wealth, the legal system's fallibility, and deeply ingrained societal attitudes towards sexual assault. Whether the Supreme Court upholds the acquittal or reinstates the conviction, the questions Alves' case raises will linger.